and welcome back to another episode of I Quit My Band. How we doing today, fellas?
I'm good,
dude.
Good. My name's Nate.
I'm JJ.
I'm Evan.
We're continuing on with the season of the Chat, another review today. But before we get into that, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Go follow us on Instagram and TikTok, and go subscribe to our Patreon page. $5 a month for bonus content. Become a quitter. Support the show. Support what we're doing. I hope you like what you find over there. Lots of different stuff. But today we're going to continue on with our harrowing season of the Chad series of reviews.
Mm-hmm.
We've reviewed Deaf Heaven. We've reviewed Joe. We've reviewed Black Country New Road, King Gizzard, Turnstile. So much shit. Sleep Token. So much shit is coming out. And we're gonna be here every step of the way.
Yeah, this one we've had marked on our calendars from the very first drop.
Yeah, this one is the one I've been most excited about reviewing since they announced the release of the album. It's Viagra Boys, their new self-titled album, Viagra Boys.
Yeah.
But it is a self-titled record.
Yeah.
Viagra Boys have been one of my favorite bands since their debut with Streetworms, I think in 2019. Just like, I love slacker rock, and I feel like this is the epitome of slacker rock. But they have like a certain drive to all of their songs too. Like, even when it is lazy sounding, they still like know how to keep it upbeat and energetic, and talk about these like issues in society, but in a very funny, weird way that is like, I can relate to that, but also at the same time, you're taking it over the line a bit.
Yeah, they're like slacker rock that also sounds like they could kick your ass.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is not typically the case.
Yeah, it's like slob rock.
Yeah.
You know? It's like
Yeah.
a guy that has all the muscle in his gut, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like when they show that picture of like Fedor, and they're like, "You might not like it, but this is what the prime man
This is-
looks like."
yeah, this
Tony
is-
Soprano coming out of the pool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you may not like this.
This
but
is the
Peak male physique.
peak male
Yeah.
physique.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I think like they came out of that post-punk wave, and immediately they're one of the people that had like the most character, the most
Yeah.
personality. A lot of that stuff can all just sound like really good recreations of mid-'80s rock music.
Yeah.
Whereas like they immediately, and a big part of it is Sebastian, the lead singer.
Yeah.
He has like a completely unique approach to lyricism,
Yeah.
vocals, and like you said, like some songs have like biting criticism of the way that we live today, and other ones are just like about stealing a jacket.
Yeah.
And they're equally awesome.
Yeah, it is like, I don't know, they with their first album Streetworms, it was kind of about being, you know, a slob, and then like reveling in that like that lifestyle and that gross lifestyle. Like Sports was a funny example. Like it's a song just naming sports, but then it gets to things like buying things on the internet and like just these dumb things that we all do. And then Welfare Jazz came out in 2021, I think. They tried to do this kind of like country western type of mix. There was a few great singles off of that record, but it wasn't one of my favorites.
I would agree. I think "Ain't Nice" might be one of their best songs.
I think
if
so
not
too.
their best song. but
Creatures is also great.
Creatures is good,
Yeah.
but like "Ain't Nice" is like the epitome of that, like reveling in the slobbish.
In the slob
Just
culture.
I'm an asshole.
Yeah,
It's
I'm an
Dennis
asshole.
Leary's asshole for a new age.
It really was. I'm an asshole, and it's awesome,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to change. And every relationship I'm in, I'm going to ruin it. But
Yeah, I'm gonna treat my girlfriend's place just like a storage closet to keep all my shit.
Yeah, the whole time I'm getting drunk.
yeah,
Yeah.
getting drunk, smoking, just ruining your own life.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then 2022 was when they released Cave World, which is probably their most critically acclaimed record, and for good reason. I mean, Cave World was my favorite record of that year as well. It's a shame we didn't start the podcast in time to talk about that, because I think it came out like later in the year.
Yeah.
That year, but it had all of those elements of like their slacker rock, you know, asshole piece of shit vibe with all the lyrics, but it had that like political drive to it as well, kind of critiquing the whole vaccine and conspiracy theory thing, and like
yeah, the monkey song.
Return to Monkey,
Yeah.
and like Baby Criminal and Troglodyte. Some of the other songs, there were some songs that didn't have anything to do
Crawlers.
with it. Creepy Crawlers, yeah.
Which is like not really a song, but
Yeah.
just
Like
a
a
spoken word
rant.
piece. Yeah.
Yeah.
Putting creepy crawlers in the vaccines, man.
They're putting 5G in the vaccines, man.
Yeah,
Which
it's
is like this much separated from if you went to a local dive now.
Yeah,
Oh.
you would find that guy
dude, 100%.
giving that speech to just some guy who's just like,
Yeah, sick, awesome.
You're actually
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like the weirdest band to kind of take up like post-COVID like politics, but
Yeah.
they're almost like the perfect band because
Yeah.
we've reached this point of like total schizophrenia
Yeah.
in the public discourse, and they are the guys that are just going to cut through it by being as like absurd as possible.
Yeah.
And then that I would agree that Cave World is probably my favorite of theirs. Just like the standout tracks are like
Yeah.
unbelievable. Like Punk Rock Loser, again going back to like the like schlob rock.
Yeah.
Ain't No Thief might be my favorite rock song of like this century.
Me too. Like I've never not had a great time listening to that song, even if I'm just like at work or in the just driving. It doesn't matter where you are. It just gets you really jacked up.
I mean, immediately it sounds like you just stole a cop car. like just like
Yeah, like I was just driving in my car the other day, just like going to a gas station, and then that song comes on, and you're just like, oh yeah, oh yeah, it's so cool.
I mean, that one's their most commercially successful, right? And
I believe so.
being
Yeah.
the resident album art hog, Cave World has a great aesthetic.
Got
to
a
it.
great aesthetic.
You know?
It had a whole theme in there too.
Yeah.
If I had to critique it on one thing, and it was a thing that I thought on Welfare Jazz as well, was that it just didn't feel like there was a lot of great songs on it, but the whole album, like as a whole, like most of the tracks were like interlude, or a lot of the tracks, not most of them, were like interlude, instrumental, or like just little spacey like 30-second cuts. It made the whole album an album, but the actual songs on it there were probably like 5 or 6 on like an 11 or 12 track album. And they did the same thing on Welfare Jazz, where it was like, okay, I can really only take away like 3 great, fun album to listen to, but there's really only like 3 like banger cuts.
Yeah, they did, and they've done that even going back to Streetworms, like something like Best in Show, which is just him like like talking about dogs.
They do
for
that
a
on
minute
every
and a half,
record, yeah.
Whereas like this one is like, it seems to be them getting away from that.
Yeah, I was pleased when I saw like the timestamps for all of these songs. Like they were like mostly over 2.5 minutes, except for like I think the Best in Show on this record is the longest song.
The longest song, yeah. I think the other ones are like 1.5 minutes and like 50 seconds.
Yeah. But yeah, I was pleased to listen to this and see that it's like more of just a well-rounded like full album that is just filled with songs that they've written from front to back, and they all have like lyrical themes and their own thing going on. I was very excited for this record. I mean, the singles that came out, Man Made to Meet, we covered that one. Like I would say it's probably one of their better songs. Probably one of their better bangers, and same with the Bog Body. Is that playing right now?
I think so.
Name me, son.
Oh, it's me.
It's you.
Whoops.
Sorry,
I
dude.
was like, what the fuck? But yeah, Uno 2 was the only thing that I didn't like completely connect with as the singles, but it still made me very excited for this album.
Same here. When I heard Man Made to Meet, I didn't listen to any other singles because I
Yeah.
was just like, we're in good hands.
Yeah.
Like, I just need one banger. I know that there's going to be a banger on here. I want to hear what the rest of it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's too many singles that people put out now, I
Yeah.
feel like. And it's just like the way things are. Like, my band's prepping to put out an album. It's like, yeah, we have to do 3. Like, why the fuck? I don't want to put out 3.
You only got to do one. Dude.
Yeah, just do one good
Called
one.
a single for
yeah,
a reason.
I know. Just one.
One.
Yeah.
That's it. But yeah, we're just gonna dive in. We're gonna listen to this whole thing. We're gonna review it track by track. That's what we do here on the show. And what do you say, fellas?
Let's
rip.
do it, dude.
It's Viagra Boys. Viagra Boys. Mm-hmm. And it's like what my band. Here's the first track, Man Made to Meet. we talked about it on the show before, but yeah, I mean it's classic Viagra Boys. The guitars sound wild, the synths sound wild. It just creates a chaos of instrumentation right at the beginning, and then we get the belch. Yeah.
That's an incredible way to open your album. We think that you've been as slack a rock as you can possibly be, but the opening line to your first song has a belch.
I don't know if it's ever been done before.
It really is. Like, this might be a Guinness World Record.
It's an innovative thing to do in your first song.
The song sounds just like Speaking in Tongues by Eagles of Death Metal.
Yeah, you mentioned that earlier, and I used to be a huge Eagles of Death Metal fan, and I never picked up on that.
Yeah,
but you're right. It's
pretty close.
It has a similar vibe to it.
Probably just the like short little guitar things that like are in that instrumental section.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I think this, we've talked about it before. It gives me like Butthole Surfers vibes,
Big time.
Gorillaz a little bit.
I hear a little Devo with like the synth and like just like those like a lot of the drums on this one more than the other records have like a drum machine quality. They're very consistent.
Yeah,
just setting down the groove.
Yeah,
like because a lot of their songs are driven by the bass line. So like the drums are there to kind of just support whatever groove they're laying down.
Yeah.
And yeah, they used a lot more synth on Cave World, but it was like old schooler. I felt like some of the synth choices, like a lot of colder, noisier.
Yeah, and they showed it off more with like instrumental interlude tracks in that record too. Like Troglodyte is probably their most Devo sounding song.
Big time.
And yeah, I mean that's one of their best songs too, and it has a fucking amazing chorus. But yeah, this one, like, this feels a little bit. It feels in the same vein as all of that, like Ain't No Thief and Troglodyte and, you know, Baby Criminal. But this has like more of a like radio rock punch to it.
Especially
like,
in the chorus.
Yeah.
It's so sing-songy.
Yeah.
Like, even their catchiest choruses, like, maybe Punk Rock Loser, but even that has, like, that, like, disaffected sort of... This is, like, right mid-range. Anybody can sing that. Super catchy.
Yeah. And the lyrics are... You can tell that this album is probably not going to be about anything that, like, has a point.
No.
You know? Like, they're kind of right back to what they were doing on Streetworms, of just talking about the ridiculousness of, you know, the 21st century male.
Yeah.
Which I love, because being a 21st century male, I can relate to a lot of this, but also I know a lot of people that, like, do these things that they're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, throughout the record.
No, I would agree. Like, I think the lyrics on this record are the most absurd that maybe they've ever been.
Yeah.
Like, there's times where, like, in that one, you kind of know what he's talking about. It's like a slice of life of, like, the 21st century male. There are other ones where I'm like, I don't know what he's talking about.
Well, yeah, there's some other ones, but, there's a couple on this record that relate to this. But I think Man Made of Meat is, like, it kind of sets the tone. Like, even the title, Man Made of Meat, is just talking, like, you know, I'm subscribed to your mom's OnlyFans, and I talked to her on the AI chat program, and it's great. Like, that's so funny. It's just like, yeah, that's what guys do now.
I guess so.
Yeah, and it's like Man Made of Me. It's like, I'm man, like, the man today is man in name only.
Yeah.
We don't work in a factory. We don't do these things that are traditional masculine.
Yeah.
We are talking to a fake version of our friend's mother that we pay money
watching
to do.
her get nude on camera and holding that as a secret for the rest of our life. But yeah, I just think it's a great song. It's a great tone setter for the record.
I would agree.
Let's move on to the next one. This one's called Bog Body. This was the third single they put out. What do you guys think of this one? We never talked about this one.
It's kind of similar to I mean, it continues the vibe of everything, right? There's like more of a punk edge to this song and everything. I like how he like goes kind of scientific with what it means for a body to be left in a bog.
And the difference between a swamp and
a bog. I didn't know, and now I know that if your body left in a bog, it gets pickled.
I didn't know that either.
That's cool.
Yeah. Can't you see someone like at a party like saying that to you though? Just like, immediately. Like, you don't even know the difference between a swamp
and a
bog.
Well, and there's another song where he kind of plays on that idea
yeah.
of just like, we're so full of useless,
Just
worthless information. Yeah, this was like a song that at first when I heard it is like, is he trying to like talk about people who are like obsessed with like true crime or something like that?
I kind of thought so. I mean, my wife is obsessed with true crime. You guys know that.
Oh, yeah.
I fuck with true crime.
I fuck with true crime too. But like when I played the song with my wife in the car, she was like, "This song reminds me of me," because I would say something like that. I was like, "I know you would."
Yeah,
You're
you know
that
the
kind of
difference between a swamp and a bog is.
Have you heard about the Bog Lady yet? It's a new 6-part series on Netflix.
We're only on episode 2. It's getting really good.
You
Don't tell me.
won't
Don't tell me.
believe
Yeah.
You won't believe it.
That's what this song like did for me. It
Yeah.
was like, like people get obsessed with murder mysteries and like useless shit that's like, it's interesting, but what is it really doing? You know?
I often think about that with true crime because I've definitely gone through like where I'll get obsessed with some sort of true crime thing, and then it's just like a black hole of terrible information. Like you never walk away from it. Like like a good story. Usually there's a message or something, and like you're like. You end up walking away with true crime is just like, wow, that was fucked up.
Yeah.
And that kind of feels what the song might be talking about.
Like, well, I know every detail about that now.
Yeah.
I don't know who to go.
I
with
can't
this
do
information
anything
to.
with it.
Yeah, I know what Ted Bundy's college professor thought of him.
Yeah, and ultimately I just watched because I wanted to know the horrible things that happened.
Yeah.
I don't care about anything else.
But you know all of it.
I know what the victim was wearing.
Yeah.
You know, all of that thing.
I know what she did for work.
Yeah.
How much money she made.
Yep.
That she was struggling to keep her family afloat, and then she got murdered.
Yeah.
But other than the lyrics,
And sonically, it kind of like maybe Cars, like something like that, like
Gary
80,
Newman.
Yeah.
I think it's their most Devo on the record.
Yeah.
But I didn't think about Gary Newman Cars. That's a good one. I mean, it's a little bit more intense than that.
But yeah, it's like punky, fuzzed out version of that kind of 80s weird pop.
I like that it's probably one of the most aggressive on the record. Probably one of their most aggressive songs ever, I think. I feel like it would be really fun to see live.
Agreed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Let's move on to the next one. This is Uno 2. Which was the second single they put out, and it was when it first came out. It was a bit of a head scratcher, but in the context of the record, I'm beginning to like it more, especially after 2 like really energetic, heavy songs. Like I kind of like the placement of it, and gives you a bit of a breather. And I learned what the lyrics are about too.
Oh, okay.
What are they?
I think it's about. I didn't learn about every lyric, but I think the general theme is that it's about Sebastian Murphy's dog that I guess has to be at the vet for like a bunch of things all the time. Like he's like a frequent vet visiting dog. And I think it might, after listening to the lyrics, I think it's coming from the perspective of the dog.
Oh.
Like I found a crouton underneath the futon. Like that seems very like a dog acting.
You would hope it's not him.
Yeah.
Just like, hell yeah,
Dude, one
Another
singular crouton.
It's an Italian season down the hatch.
Glad I found this one. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was having a hard time kind of piecing together if this song had sort of a message. I mean, it's catchy.
Yeah.
So I didn't feel like it 100% needed it. Mm-hmm. But there's like, all these different things going on about like Swedish politics. And
I
feeling
don't
like
understand.
a bitch in compared to like whoever this person is, their experiences.
Yeah, that's not a dog activity to know about Swedish politics. But the rest of it, I think, makes sense if you look at it from that perspective. But, I like just the kind of, like, I like the instrumentation, like that little flute in the background. Like, that's weird. Like, they're just trying out some new experimental
almost
stuff.
a Fontaines DC-esque song.
I could see that.
A little bit,
the way it sounds.
The mood and, like...
It's kind of chill and subdued a little bit compared to
Yeah.
what we just listened to.
Yeah, and there's more of that on the record. Like, when I heard this listening through for the first time, I was like, okay. But then you get more vibes like this, and they seem to be pulling from, like, more indie rock. Like, there's part of that kind of reminds me of, like, later era Modest Mouse.
Yeah, I could see that.
With just like more so later too.
Yeah.
Of like you seem to be pulling from that more like indie rock blown out production where we're really trying to get spacey and
yeah,
stuff
kind of like an Arcade Fire, late era Arcade Fire.
There's one on here
vibe.
that I couldn't believe how much it sounds like Arcade Fire.
Really? I don't even know. That was the most Arcade Fire, I thought.
There's a lot of singleable songs on this album.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Which is a good and a bad thing, right? Because it's like, which one do you choose to put out? And I almost think it was just like, fuck it, do the first three.
Yeah,
which is kind of rad. I like if I'm gonna get an album, just like okay, I've gotten the first three.
Let's cycle through the ones you've heard before, and then everything else will just be brand new.
Yeah, let's move on to the next one. This one's called Pyramid of Health.
This one might be my favorite.
This is
I remember it the most.
Yeah, this one's 100% my favorite song on the record.
Same here.
Yeah.
And I knew it would be yours because it sounds like Odelay.
It sounds like Odelay, and it sounds like the Butthole Surfers. I got Butthole Surfers more than anything, but I mean, like,
this is the same singer.
Same singer, yeah.
He like does so many different modes.
He's got a lot. He's a very. He's more dynamic as a singer than you'd think.
Yeah.
Like he has that slob, screaming attitude, but he can. The piano tracks in this record and then this song too. Like he can do a lot of.
He can do a lot, and there's
voices.
another song I forget which one it is, where his vocal kind of sounds like the dude from Idols, in a way. He's just yelling like very vigorously.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, this could almost be a fucking feature.
Yeah.
But it's all the same guy.
That'd be a cool collab. Viagra Boys and Idols. Yeah.
I feel like they're the exact opposite though.
Yeah, they kind of are.
Yeah. One's way too serious.
Yeah, and then the other maybe not serious enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like this song. I like the vibe a lot.
Yeah.
It's another one that has like I get a little bit of that like Modest Mouse type of
Yeah,
like
I can see Modest Mouse.
Yeah, like really nicely produced indie rock with a really good driving beat and like all of these different things in the mix, and they're all kind of pretty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even the ones that are like fucked up and weird still have like a night like these horns and stuff.
Yeah.
Like they have a melodic kind of function.
Yeah, I love the way everything stacks with each other. Like it just sounds like the way the distorted bass is and the way the guitar is like, but having that kind of jangly cowboy-ish guitar underneath like all these like very loud distorted synthesizers just create such a cool vibe. And with this just mid-tempo fucking head nodding, like it's so catchy even though the chorus has a lot of words in it.
It does, and I like that he stays monotone the whole time.
Yeah.
So it's like this track is going like wild around him and asking for your attention all over the place, and he's just kind of cruising down the middle of it.
The lyrics too, another highlight for the lyrics, talking about just how bad his health is, and because he does all these things like eating cigarettes for breakfast or something, like, but it also has like maybe he's high, talking to a little green worm. We're not really sure. But also I was wondering like wondering how truthful this record is to maybe like the way he actually treats his body, or if it's just another like satire type of thing.
Yeah, because there's stuff on here that also seems to be like leaning into like a lot of like the new age ideas of like holistic medicine and stuff like that. Like he's talking to people who are giving him advice that sound insane.
Talking about eating a cactus.
Yeah, like that. He's not doing that.
Right, exactly.
But like that is when you start talking to people about health, like sometimes they'll be like, they'll say something that you're just like, okay. You're like, if you eat bark 3 times a week, your eyes will never get bad. Yeah, you're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, like I'm not doing that. Even if I want my eyes to
I'd
get
rather
better.
my eyes go bad.
I'm not eating. Yeah, there's always something that people tell you that you're like, that sounds great, but I'm not going to do it.
Exactly. Like, my doctor might be lying to me, but at least he went to school.
Yeah.
It's like, you have a welding certificate and you're telling me to eat bugs. So,
cicadas are really good for you.
They
They're
only
all
come
around.
Every 7 years, you have a feast.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I freeze them. So I got them for 7 years, brother. My freezer's full of bugs.
We do a big harvest.
Yeah.
My freezer's full of bugs.
Full of bugs.
Yeah, it's their next
Rich
album.
protein. Put a little seasoning on it.
Freezer full of bugs.
I could see that being a song. That'd be a good
Yeah.
song.
Another mention of meat too. They're
Another
just
mention of
really
meat,
into
yeah.
meat.
I don't know if this is our first shrimp mention, but it's one of them.
Lots
Yeah.
of shrimp and meat.
Shrimp Tech Enterprises.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention
Yeah,
their whole
Future's
thing.
blowing up.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it started on the first album. Just shrimp gets mentioned all the time.
Yeah.
Maybe
Now,
it's their favorite food.
I think it has to do with maybe small penis stuff.
Oh.
That's my, you know.
You might be projecting.
I might
that
be
on them.
projecting that. And I don't even, you know, this might have to do with small penis.
But like,
I don't know.
nothing I would be able to relate to.
I don't know that. Like, maybe shrimps, you know.
One
that's a
could
nickname for small.
speculate.
One could speculate that's why they're my favorite band.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I love Viagra Boys because of the normalization of small penises.
I love them because they all got small dicks, dude, just like me.
They're watching this like, what the fuck?
That's not what it's about at all.
Everything went good until the fucking 25-minute mark where they started talking about our
Our
peepees.
dicks, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, love this song. Let's move on to the next one. This one's called Dirty Boys. What did you guys think about this one? I have like a sort of weird love, I wouldn't say hate, but
It feels the most paint by numbers Viagra Boys.
that's what I
that
think too. It's like a very obvious song for them, where it's like it's fun, it's catchy. I don't skip it when I listen to the whole album, but it feels like something they've done before.
Yeah, and it's sandwiched between maybe the two most interesting sonically on the record.
Yeah.
So when I heard this, it was just kind of like, yeah, I feel like I've heard this
Yeah.
on the past 3 albums.
Yeah.
Well, when they're doing all kinds of stuff, you got to throw a few fastballs in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But yeah, I just think it's like it's the first time on the record where like I was like I wanted to fast forward a bit like towards the end. It gets pretty chaotic towards the end, but yeah.
It does, and I like this synth, like how
Yeah.
it goes up, but for the most part, yeah, and even in like subject matter, like Dirty Boys, like,
Yeah, it's
like
like-
it feels like the other guys or something.
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
those-
We've covered
done
this
this
ground
before.
before.
Yeah.
It's fun. I like some of the lyrics. I like, you know, how it paints this picture of like, you know, turning into like this kind of creature. Whether, you know, that's like filling your mind with bullshit news and media and like food and stuff, or it's just kind of like a bog body type of song where it's going on the absurd, talking about like actually turning into some sort of monster, like
Yeah.
cutting yourself open and having gasoline for blood. Those are cool lyrics, but
Yeah, I like the we don't sweat, like they don't sweat, but they're always
they're
wet.
always wet. Yeah,
Yeah, the and he does give like a more impassioned vocal performance on this song than some of the others. Like he's not in that like relaxed, like he's screaming his fucking lungs
Yeah.
out.
yeah,
But yeah, between the track that came before it and the track that came after it, this like it's a pickup in tempo and energy, but it did always kind of feel like a lull when I got there.
yeah.
And yeah,
I thought so too. Let's move on to the next one. Medicine for Horses.
this is the one that sounds like Arcade Fire to me.
Okay, yeah,
Especially
now I can see
in his vocal.
Yeah.
Like this opening, he sounds a lot like Win Butler.
that. They do. I don't know if everyone knows it, but they do sad, depressing songs very well.
Yeah, they do.
Like, I like this one a lot, and it reminded me of Worms off of their first record, which is like a song that I almost avoid sometimes because of how deep and depressing it is and sad. I like the lyrics on this one. Sometimes life is hard if you like it hard. Like that's a really like deep lyric on an album that is like mostly just been fun so far and kind of ridiculous. But yeah, his vocal is fucking great. Sounds like a different person. Like the instrumentation, really cool.
Yeah, it's I was gonna say, before the context you provided, this seems a bit too earnest to be this band. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah.
Not that that's a criticism. I mean, I think it's healthy to diversify your musical portfolio a bit. I have a tough time grasping this vibe from this band when they just talked about like, you know, or are referencing their small dicks all the time or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's a good song, you know. It's like a nice change in pace, although we kind of got the mid-tempo thing with Pyramid of Health too, you know, so
Yeah.
No, I really like this a lot. I can understand what you're saying about like having a hard time switching to a more earnest vibe, but what I like about it is he's still like, these lyrics are still insane.
Yeah, they are.
But like, he finds a way to make them land with an emotionality that I think is harder to do than like it would seem like when it like go ahead, break my neck and like all this stuff. Like, it feels it still fits the tone of the song, but it remains like as singular and strange as the rest of the ones where he's talking about, you know, men being made of meat. And fucking...
I need my pineal gland recalcified is a really funny line to open like a very earnest piano type of driven song with. But yeah, I didn't know like what the message of this one was. It kind of made me think like if we're talking about like what we said, like the 21st century male, just kind of like jumping to conclusions about things that maybe aren't a big deal, you know, like, you know, the line about getting your head stomped on by a horse, like. It's like, you know, maybe it's, you know, things aren't that bad, but you just, like, kind of feel like that. Like, you need that sometimes. And it's like, why, you know?
Yeah, and then there's also, like, stuff about, like, you know, recreate me in a couple years when you're dead and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't know if it's, like, about... with the technology and how frustrating it is to live around this time, and then what is even the future of this looks like.
Like, you
know?
just have these moments where you're just like, I need someone to just, you know, euthanize me. That's
I need a horse to kick me in the head.
Exactly.
Like when my boss is like, hey, we need those by Friday.
Right,
It's
like,
like, where's Mr. Ed? That he can just fucking blast me up
Can
against
someone
his
just
wall?
old yeller me right now? I just need a slug right in the back. That's what this song made me think of. Like those moments where you're just like, put me out of my misery.
Yeah, and it's like medicine for horses. It's
Yeah.
like, you know, if a horse got sick when you were running it, it's like glue.
Right. It's,
Yeah.
Like immediate.
yeah. It's right in the title. Let's move on to the next one. This is Waterboy.
we're back to what I expect.
We're back to being ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. This song reminded me a lot of the Gorillaz.
Yeah.
And, that synth line, it's a little bit more like energetic, has more of a driving beat than most of Gorillaz songs, but the way he like this vocal style reminded me of Damon Albarn.
I can hear that now big time. Yeah. I didn't think of that when I first listened to it, but
Yeah.
yeah. I feel similar about this one that I did Dirty Boys.
Yeah, I there's a similar vibe.
Yeah, there's like a sameness to some of these tracks. Like they
Yeah.
don't reach the heights that Troglodyte or like ADD or Ain't No Thief on like the previous album
Yeah, I can
did.
see that.
And they all kind of like, they're still good songs, like
Yeah.
solid songs, but they just don't seem to hit that like next peak.
Yeah.
I think this is a really catchy chorus, one of the better choruses on the record.
Mm-hmm.
But it's another one where I don't really know what this song is about.
Yeah.
Remember that dude?
Remember that dude? Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Is this one where he's like, I knew a dude that knew a dude that said you
I think that's the
store policy.
That's
or-
store policy that's coming up. But yeah, I got like all three of those songs mixed up. Store policy I think is more unique than
Yeah.
Dirty Boys and Waterboy, but like this is another one. Okay, maybe this is the dude one.
No,
it's
it's later.
That's probably why I was getting it mixed up. But yeah, this one's like another like chill one, like Dirty Boys that like it goes places, but not in the most memorable way. Like I don't hate it. Don't wish to skip it, but yeah, it feels like similar ground.
Yeah. Yeah, it like has all the hallmarks of a Viagra
Yeah.
Boy song, but
Yeah.
they don't all coalesce to like really that next level.
Let's move on. Oh wait, hold on. I did want to talk about that moment right there that we were just about to hit. Like that quiet part with the bass. I just thought it was like one of the more memorable moments on the record. Just like this little stretch, I liked.
Yeah, because it's a little more like maximally produced than some of their other stuff. Like, you know, it's harder when you have all this shit going on to like cut it down to like nothing. Yeah, and for it to still sound like it's part of the same song. Yeah. So I agree.
Store Policy. I like this one a lot.
Yeah, this one's cool.
Yeah, really, really cool production.
Yeah.
Really weird.
Yeah,
and the lyrics are insane.
Yeah,
but
the lyrics are great.
But it's sometimes like when the lyrics are insane, but I can at least grasp the general idea. Yeah, I can kind of go with it because you can kind of just throw lines against the wall, you know, and at least I know like the world it's taking place in.
Yeah, he's playing that character again, just that guy who doesn't. Yeah,
this is the one where I thought he sounded like the dude from Idols.
Yeah, I could see that, like the way he's really
his
delivering some of these lyrics.
Yeah,
but yeah, he's playing that character again of a man who probably should be like put in a room and locked in there and be like to just protect society.
Yeah, instead, he's at a store where they have to keep reminding
playing
him.
with himself by the health food show. But yeah, I love the production on this one. Just those distorted vocals, and
it's almost like a Death Grip song.
Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah,
and I love that like hi-hat, sizzle, and then the double snare hit.
Yeah,
I think like I like the experimentation on this record so much. Like the stuff that they're doing that's different, like Medicine for Horses, Pyramid of Health.
Love this part too.
I mean, their bassist rules.
He's great, dude. He carries the band.
He really does. Yeah. And then like this like freak out with the horns.
Yeah.
So I think that sometimes when I get just like a standard Viagra Boys track, even if it's good, it feels like it's lacking in ideas when they do this kind of stuff so well. But that's a tough balance to strike. Like you obviously want to allow the people that like have been sticking with you for 3 albums because you write the punky fun bangers to go along on the ride when you do something strange like this. But I'm responding to stuff like this a lot more than those songs.
Yeah, I think that like with Dirty Boys and Waterboy, like on past records, they probably would have filled those spaces in the sequencing out with like interlude tracks and something that would make the album be more of a headphones listen, where that, like you said before, this is a lot of like singleable tracks. Yeah. And they're kind of missing the boat on a couple of them. But they're not like total misses.
No, they're not bad songs.
They're not bad songs. They're fun listens.
Yeah.
But yeah, to make it this like another Cave World, like critical acclaimed album, I think going more artsy, you would do that. But this album does just have a dumber vibe. Like,
it's unfair to expect of them to create some sort of like super cohesive like art piece again when maybe you just want to put out a bunch of songs.
Yeah, I think they're just
who cares if there's as much cohesion as the last time.
Right. They're just putting out fun songs. It doesn't have to really mean anything, and
there's less pressure that way.
Maybe they wanted to not have the burden of trying to make a political or social statement on this one, and they just wanted to have more fun. I completely get that.
But we still get something like this, which feels like completely new.
Yeah.
They're trying to... Yeah, there's like almost like a British sort of like dance vibe or something to it. Something weird. I can't even put my finger on it, but I love that song. One of my favorites.
I liked it a lot too. Let's move on. I like this one a lot. This is called You Need Me. It fits in the same, style as Dirty Boy, Waterboy, but the subject matter and the lyrics, I think, are just they hit harder. There's more of a theme here. I think the vocal melody is more fun.
It's kind of weird.
I think it kind of blows up at the end in a more satisfying way than the other ones. But yeah, I love the lyrics about what we were talking about before, just having all of this useless information in your head, saying it whenever you just want to seem impressive.
Yeah.
Like wherever that may be, at a party or
it becomes
work.
Like an anxiety response. Like,
pretty much.
I feel anxious. Better talk about the Polish army using bears now. She seems uninterested.
Yeah. And I know, and I was saying this before, like I know people that are like that. And like I see it all the time now, and it's just like, why are you why are you saying this to me
Yeah.
at this moment in time?
And it's always such like a one-sided conversation
Yeah.
where it's just like I feel like I'm being held like at gunpoint.
At
Like,
gunpoint.
what can I give you to make you go away?
It's like, okay,
do you
cool.
want my
know,
wallet?
Yeah, you know about this. I didn't stay up, Wikipediaing, the Revolutionary War.
Yeah.
I learned about it in 8th grade, and I forget most of it.
Yeah,
so,
I didn't watch whatever video essay you just watched. So,
so all you could do is just sit there and go, "Oh wow,
Oh,
That's
nice.
sick.
oh wow,
Hell
I didn't
yeah.
know that."
yeah.
Oh, sick.
And pretend with your face that you're not tuning out. That's the toughest part for me because I have
Yeah.
like the worst poker face in the
Yeah,
world.
no,
so whenever, this is just a message to anybody, all my friends and whoever. But if you, it's pretty easy to see me go when you're talking.
I think viewers of the podcast may have
Yeah.
witnessed such a lack of poker face.
We've
Yeah.
noticed it on the Pearl Jam review for
Yeah,
sure.
I'm just like,
yeah. No,
life's
I'm
too short, man.
I have a tough time with shit like that too.
Yeah.
because I just after you can only say wow and sick.
yeah, and you say, oh,
before your
Whoa.
face starts to hurt.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
And you're like, brother, I just gave you 3 six
yeah.
and 2 wows.
I'm telling you, it's sick.
That's the universal bro SOS of just
Yeah.
like wrap
Sick.
it up.
Sick.
You know?
Yeah.
That's why I love this song so much. I can picture myself in this
Oh, yeah.
situation. But saying that society needs those kind of people, I can also agree with that as well.
Well, even that, I could also see it being like, because I think he's talking to a girl, maybe.
Yeah, he's talking.
So
to
it's almost like you've made up your mind. Like, this is the person for me. I'm gonna
Yeah.
hit them with all the stupid shit
Yeah,
I know, and
yeah.
of course they're gonna find me interesting and cool.
right, exactly.
Yeah, I like this one a lot. I think it's like you said, it's cut from a similar cloth of Dirty Boys and Waterboy, but subject matter's a little better. It's a
Yeah.
little more aggressive, a little noisier.
Fits in with the album a little bit more.
I agree, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, and they kind of do less musically. It kind of
Yeah.
just hangs on the groove, and
Yeah.
they kind
It's
of
like a drone.
yeah, and
Yeah.
they build around it with like weird horns and a lot more flute on this record than I was
some
expecting,
good flute
which is
parts.
cool.
Yeah, never thought I would say that in 2025. Some great use of flute.
On that new Viagra Boys
Good,
record.
good horns.
Yeah, some good horns on her. Let's move on. Here's Best in Show Part 4, which is actually the third Best in Show.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't remember a Best in Show 3.
I was doing some digging. I was like, I don't think they ever did Part 3 because there wasn't a Best in Show on Cave World.
Yeah.
But this
Could
is,
there be, but it's like hidden in there, dude?
Either that or
maybe.
it sounds like a prank. You know what I
It's-
mean?
yeah.
Like to get you looking for Best in Show 3.
Yeah.
Like I remember like hearing when we were gonna do our senior prank, someone was like, I heard about at one school they brought in 3 cows and numbered them 1, 3, and 4. So then they just kept looking for the second cow.
Oh,
actually-
badass.
That's great.
Yeah, we were like, yeah, where the fuck did they get
Yeah.
cows?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just go get those 3 cows.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and spray paint them, commit like 7 crimes stealing cows
Yeah.
and breaking into our school.
Yeah.
God.
But yeah, I
great
thi-
idea.
I think that this song starts off pretty strong. Like this like stream of consciousness vocally is one of the most insane
Yeah,
that he's
it's
ever
wild.
done. But the I think this song sticks around a little longer than maybe it needs to.
Yeah, it's interesting that it's like 5.5 minutes. Like the other Best in Shows were really short, just funny little interludes about like dogs, and their love for dogs. But this one feels like they're trying to capture that same like paranoid conspiracy theorist type of shit that they were doing on Cave World. But it just goes off the rails a little bit faster and to more of an extent. Yeah, I don't know what they're trying to say on this song.
Yeah, it just sounds like a guy who's broken his brain with like ayahuasca.
Yeah.
and like you talk to him, and he might have all the secrets of the universe,
Yeah.
but he certainly can't communicate
He can't
them
communicate it well
whatsoever.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't mind it. It was another like it's an obvious. That's the point of the song is to kind of, I think maybe just, say a bunch of shit to you at once because that seems to be a theme of the record. It's
Yeah.
just to like, and I love that theme because it's something I notice with people all the time now, and I feel like it's like this silent epidemic where it's like, does anyone else get caught in these traps? And I kind of like that they're maybe trying to point and arrow to it. I'm not really sure, but this song seems like the full direct version of it.
I mean, the irony of it all in the story that you told Evan and I before we recorded
right,
today.
exactly.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I do think like whether they are like purposely pointing it out or just like as to make it authentic to 2025.
Yeah.
The average American is walking around with like a good 5 to 10 minute chunk of information that could make you just be like, you need to be committed.
You need help.
Yeah. I've had numerous of those conversations where just like, especially some of the hobbies that I do, where it's like I'll get talking to somebody where I'm just like, oh wow, okay, you are so deep into this that I can't even even breach the surface, and like you're like yelling at me from down in the well.
Yeah, it makes you feel like, you're stupid for a second because you're like, well, I don't know anything about this.
Yeah,
but you're just like, I don't think I'm supposed to. Exactly. I don't think anyone's.
I'm a man made of meat. I should be working in a factory.
Yeah, right, exactly. That's why I like this album.
Yeah, yeah. Just the listening to this. Like, when I go back and listen to this, I'm probably going to skip this song. Because of this back half.
Just because of
being so strange and
the
kind of
length
meandering.
And the fact that it's not really a song, I think they know that, too. Let's move on to the last one. It's called River King. It's another slow ballad that I really liked a lot.
I did, too. I did not expect some
Me
sort
either.
of piano-driven anything.
Reminded me a lot of Queens of the Stone Age, like Clockwork.
The
way that album ends with like a very slow, uncharacteristic piano ballad.
He sounds like he's getting emotional in the middle of there too.
Yeah, I really like the way his voice sounds in this.
Yeah, I like the second verse a lot, where it's like they just kept it like a bad take.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like
his voice cracks.
Yeah.
That's where I thought he was getting emotional. It kind of I don't know what he's singing about, but I don't know if it necessitates that type of reaction. But I kind of like keeping that in there.
Oh yeah, I think it works really well. Like his like. To me, it sounded like he had screamed so many of his songs that maybe like he was trying to like go into parts of his vocal cords which were still fucked up.
Yeah.
And but yeah, like it's the last thing that I would think for the Viagra Boys, and like this is really cool. Like this warbly sort of like reminds me of like a Caretaker or something like that. Like those weird sort of like I don't even know. Like it sounds vintage, but it's not.
Yeah.
Like it's like playing from a record player.
Yeah.
Or something. I love the way his voice sounded. Like it's again like the third time on this record where you're like, he sounds like someone else.
Yeah.
He's got a great voice, and he's making use of it, and they're like experimenting and like really showing their range on this one, probably more than they have on the past two records, I think. Yeah, that little crack. Yeah, I like that a lot.
It is really cool.
Yeah.
I've done tons of vocal takes like that.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, get the fuck
him out.
rid of that.
No one could know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think like it was weird to come into this album on of what like only having listened to Man Made of Meat and to walk away with it being like the bangers and the straightforward Viagra Boy songs were like my least favorite ones on the record, and almost everything that I liked on the record. Not every. I mean, I think they're all pretty good songs, but like the things that I really liked on it were them doing something different.
Yeah, me too. Should we move into the CAs?
CAs, brother.
Let's go for it. Who's going first?
You should go first.
I'll go first. I really, really enjoyed this record. It was the biggest takeaway for me was that it's just super fun. It was a really easy listen. Back, front to back, like all the songs like have a. Sorry, it's weird to not have music playing in the background. All the songs have a really fun vibe and have their own personality. I will say that like while I did like the fact that they fleshed it out more with songs on this time around, like more than they did on Welfare Jazz and more than they did on Cave World. Some of those songs, like we mentioned, like kind of fell a little bit flat and felt like okay, they're just kind of doing what they do, and they're not really saying anything new here. But I think on some of those other songs, they are doing things and saying new things, like to such an extent that it kind of made up for the fact that there's two so-so songs on this record for me and one interlude. But yeah, I thought it was a great like self-titled record, a way to like establish themselves as like this is who we are, this is what we do after like a politically charged themed record in 2022. Some of my, I think there's some of my favorite Viagra Boys songs on here. I think a lot of other fans will see that some of their favorites are going to be on here too. Like it feels like they're still making their best music. Just like another really solid record for Viagra Boys, and reassures me as like we have great rock bands still existing, people still carrying that torch, and I just think that they're one of the best bands right now, one of the best rock bands existing right now. I'm gonna give it an 8.1 out of 10. Yeah.
I'll go next. Yeah, I really don't have anything to say negatively about this. I'm not like a big slacker rock guy. I prefer something maybe a bit more put on, or like dramatic or something like that in my like rock music. But to say there's nothing bad about this, and being somewhat of a Viagra Boys newbie, like I listen to Cave World, and then in prep for this I listened to it again. I think they do a really good job of like diversifying themselves compared to their prior stuff, like we talked about, and I think that is just completely a positive for them. Kind of leaves me curious where they'll go after this.
I was thinking about that too.
The criticism I can have is that I think sometimes just because of how bizarro their lyrics do get, that I can get lost in the sauce and be like, pause, what the fuck are we talking about here? You know what I'm saying? But it sounds good. There's like good production choices. The album's 37 minutes, 11 songs. There's like economy there, which some bands can really, get in there. Like, I don't remember how long like the Idols record was, for example, but like some can just feel like enough, and there's nothing really that happens besides the Best in Show song where I'm like, get on with it. So all that said, I think it's not as good as Cave World is, and I'm not sure that it will be acclaimed similarly, maybe because of the lack of conciseness in this. But it's still very good. I'm gonna give it a 7.4.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this as well. I think that it is a bit of a step down from Cave World. I don't know if there's anything on this record that has the replayability of some of the tracks on there. Yeah. But those are like all-timers. Yeah. Like there's some absolute great, not just like great Viagra Boys songs, like great rock songs. And one of the things that you said about Viagra Boys, which I agree with, is I think they are one of the best rock bands today. Like they have a completely unique voice. You don't hear a Viagra Boys song and say, is that another band? It's like, no, that's a Viagra Boys song. And I think that what I took away from this that was cooler than I was expecting was they did push what it means to be a Viagra Boys song into different directions. And like, as much as I enjoyed some of the bangers on this, like by far my favorite stuff is Pyramid of Health, Medicine for Horses. You Need Me is like a little more kind of what they already do. Yeah. But River King as well. It's like before I listened to this record, I didn't know that they could do that. Yeah. And that's impressive. That they're not like resting on their laurels or trying to do Cave World 2. I do think that there is a bit of the lyrics that gets to a point where I don't know what they're talking about, and they're almost too absurd. Yeah. But that's par for the course when you're taking the swings that they are, and like when their lyrics land, they're like some of my favorite. Yeah. So yeah, overall, I think it's one of their better records front to back, because it doesn't have some of those like interstitials, lulls, which
Yeah.
work the first time you listen to it, but you're probably going to skip them
Right,
most
yeah.
other times.
Yeah.
Whereas I'll probably listen to this front to back more times than I would some of the other ones. But I do think that like the highs on it aren't as high as some of the highs on their previous records. But I'm going to go 7.7.
7.7.
Might be right in the middle.
What we got?
7.8.
7.73.
All right.
We'll keep it at 7.7. I mean, I think that's a
Shrimp City Beach, 1990. Hell yeah, dude.
yeah. Shrimp City Beach, 1990. Hell
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Make sure to type all that.
I got
in,
it.
JH.
I got it.
But yeah, I am really pleasantly, not surprised. I'm pleased with another record from Viagra Boys. We brought up Idols a bunch of times on this record, and while talking about this record, and I think we said something on our Idols review for Tank was that like they were trying to be Radiohead and kind of missing the mark a few times. Where I feel like Viagra Boys wasn't trying to be Radiohead, but like the swings that they took in a more dramatic way and like stylistically different from what they usually do. It's like that's what you should do.
Yeah.
Like you should just kind of be true to what you're trying to do and let it come out naturally than like try to make a very experimental record.
Yeah, I think like you talking about like one band taking themselves too seriously, one band like we're talking like maybe don't take themselves seriously enough. But like I think that Idols, once they became so big, they put like big expectations on themselves.
Yeah.
Whereas like Viagra Boys were like, they're fine hitting a double in the gap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you get a pyramid of health, it's like, wow, I didn't know that we could do that, and that was just us trying some different stuff.
Yeah.
And keeping enough on the record that if you're a Viagra Boys fan, you're gonna listen to stuff like The Bog Body or Store Policy or You Need Me and be like, oh yeah, it's right in line with the shit that I like.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
still being able to push the boundaries of what we do further.
Yeah.
And it's inevitable when you do something as strong as or as acclaimed as Cave World, where they literally didn't they win a Grammy for it or
I don't know if
something?
they won a
It was
Grammy
like
for it,
very highly lauded amongst like music critics and things. It's inevitable when you make something like that you're gonna like come back and it's hard to match that.
Yeah.
right.
It's
But
hard
I think
to.
they did as respectable of a job with following up their best work so far with this one.
Yeah, it's hard to. It's always going to be hard to follow up your
best
most
work.
critically acclaimed record.
Yeah.
But I think not trying to top it is always a great avenue to go down.
Yeah, I think putting an expectation on something like that of like we need to do this, as opposed to like what's the music we have in us
What are
right
we
now?
just going to do?
Yeah.
What did you think of it? If you're watching the show, let us know in the comment section. Did you think it was as good as we said it was? Were you disappointed by it? Do you think it's better than Cave World? Do you think this is their best record of all time? Do you think it's their worst? Let us know in the comments. We want to know everything that you have to say about this. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok for short clips. And subscribe to our Patreon page. $5 a month to become a quitter. Lots of fun stuff on there. What else? That's it.
That's it.
Viagra
That's it,
Boys. They're self-titled. Viagra Boys, 7.7 out of 10. A Shrimp City Beach, 1993.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Well, I think it's 1990. Hell
90.
yeah.
1990. Hell yeah.
Yeah, the three is the
three
hell
is the
yeah.
hell.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go check it out. Thanks for watching. So I Quit My Band. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.